first years of my childhood were spent in pools. My mom had me in swimming classes before I even knew how to walk, and I was kinda good at it. As I grew up, my teachers would change from time to time. I was always a teacher's pet, the one to always excel, which I not like. I remember doing swimming competitions. I would feel horrible seeing that I was in first place in every single category. So I would slow down until I made sure that I got second place. I never really liked swimming. I don't like getting wet. I don't like swimsuits, and honestly the environment and the way teachers would ask more from me because they saw me as some kind of prodigy was really draining. No pun intended. But that wasn't even half of it. One of my teachers, let's call him Mr. Water Raid, had something against me. He would pick on me and refer to me as the dwarf. He pushed me to my limits, but in a way that it felt like a punishment. And he would even make my classmates go out of the way to bully me. Like, I was always deadly afraid of diving boards, and he knew that.
Hey, wouldn't it be funny if the dwarf was pushed from the diving board?
And at first it was like funny, haha, but then it would push me harder. I would face plant into the floor and cut my nose and lip. And when I was at the side of the pool bleeding from my face, everyone would just laugh. He especially had fun putting foam mats on top of students or putting them below this metal scaffolding type thing during what he called breaks. Me very much included. One day, he decided to do something that would stay with me for the rest of my life. He gathered all the students to the other side of the pool and everyone got in a circle around Mr. Water Raid. He then muttered the words,
"The dwarf is going to give us a breathing underwater demonstration."
I was put in the spot again. With his two arms, he aggressively grabbed me and sunk me underwater. He then pushed me in between his legs and held me as tight as he could, pushing his hands against my head. I was tiny compared to him. I started panicking and I punched and I kicked him as hard as I could. I was trying just anything to get me out of his clutches. The more I struggled, the more he grasped me. It was then that I realized he didn't care if I died. It was frankly horrifying. And all I could hear was the muffled laughter of everyone around me. Before I knew it, I blacked out. I gasped and opened my eyes. I held onto the pool ropes as I coughed and coughed water. It felt like my body was battling for air. Minutes later, I turned around and noticed I was in the middle of the pool away from everyone. After Mr. Water Wave used me, he just left me floating, not even putting me on the side of the pool or anything, just left alone. I was terrified, but more than anything, I was so frustrated because I almost died and there was no one. No one to save me or even acknowledge what just happened. It was just water. In the locker room, I was petrified, and my mom definitely noticed. She asked me what was wrong, and I was so shaken up it was hard for me to describe what just happened. Keep in mind, I was an autistic child that didn't know how to communicate. I don't know exactly what I described, but it was enough for my mom to take me to the pool and have a talk with Mr. Water Ray. But he just responded with,
"Oh, we're just having fun. Life is just exaggerating."
My mom bought it, and we left, but I will never forget that day. I finally quit swimming sometime later. Now, years later, I think back on it and I realized if I had just been able to communicate better, maybe things would have been different. My life became just a cycle of being traumatized, trying to express it, and the outcome was always, "Oh, you're just exaggerating," or "I don't understand you," and I was exaggerating. It was frustrating to never be taken seriously for my autism, so I would even try to lie or make things sound worse just to get my point across and get the validation I so desperately needed. But it never came. So I remained silent. I think not knowing how to communicate ruined a lot of things in my life. I would find different ways to communicate with drawing, writing, and poems. But to break the cycle, I had to come to terms with my autism. Realize that it's always been hard for me. And just yell out, "I'm slow, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. I just want to get help. I just want a voice." And as I've shared before, that help came to me when I almost lost my life again. I've gotten better these past few months. Even if people don't see it, I feel like every day I do one little step towards just being okay. I'm a little happy now, and I get to share my stories with my dear sleepyheads. A part of me wishes that my old peers had gotten to meet the Pau of today. The Pau that is happier with who she is, that's trying her best, who's finally learning to accept her feelings and express herself correctly. Maybe if I had gotten the support I needed as a child, my life would have been entirely different. But I guess we can't really do anything about the past. All I know is I like my voice. It's cute, isn't it? And if everyone tries to murder me again, I'll just have a new video idea. Thanks for watching, sleepyheads. Stay safe and good nighty.